Hey, happy day. Face the music. Let's talk about the expression face the music and how you can use that to supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma. I love this expression because I think most people hate it. Most people think that when they have to face the music, they are dealing with consequences, or they have to take their medicine, or they have to endure some consequence of their action. No, guess what? It's a consequence of their own action. We all have to deal with and live with the consequences of the things we say, the things we do, the things we don't do. Sometimes there's consequences when we choose to not do something. We have to take what comes to us. Now, we have to take what comes to us, but do we have to take it, or can we have an impact and an influence on it? Can we use the things that happen around us, the things that are consequences of our actions to our benefit? Of course we can. Anything, we live in a dual universe, so anything that can be positive can also be negative. Anything that can be negative can also be positive. It's totally up to us in terms of how we engage with it, how we interact with it. So where does this expression come from? Facing the music could come from two different places. It could come from the theater, where sometimes it's from the mid-1800s. It's when it became popular. Back then, the theaters had orchestra pits, and sometimes the audience didn't love a show that was being performed, or a performance. And it took great courage for the actors to go out and continue the performance in light of the audience not loving it or not liking it. It took courage to face the audience, and then also to face the orchestra pit, or the music that was right down in front of the audience. Other possible origin of this expression is that it could come from the military. When people were dishonorably discharged from the military, they were often seen off the premises to the playing of a band. So they had to face the music as they were, unceremoniously booted off of the reservation, or booted off of the military base, or wherever the situation was. Maybe the battle. They might have been facing the music to the battle. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a military person. So, facing the music. Now, a couple key things about facing the music. We are dealing with the consequences, not enduring the consequences. We're dealing with the consequences of our own actions, not somebody else's actions. Although, let's be honest, sometimes we are sometimes we are forced to endure the consequences for someone else. But guess what? That is also our action, resulting from our own actions. It's our own choosing if we choose to take the medicine or take the consequence that rightfully should be someone else's consequence. Here's the rub with that. Sometimes we want to take the fall for our significant others, or for our partners, or for our spouses, or take responsibility as the business owner. And we do that. We can take responsibility and do that. And we should. As a business owner, guess what? Absolutely everything that happens with respect to your business, not only your performance, but of the performance of all the people that you align yourselves with, not just your employees, but your partners and your vendors and your customers. We take responsibility as a business owner for a lot of the things that they do. Now, the problem with that is, if it isn't our thing to take responsibility for, we're not the one that needs to learn the lesson. The person that did or acted in a way that was not right, or had an unintended consequence, they're the one that needs to learn the lesson of and the consequences of their actions. So that's a whole kind of gray area in, yep, we want to help people out, we want to solve problems for them, and we will from a being responsible standpoint. But the truth is, we can only be responsible and take the consequences and control the things that we actually do or don't do. If I'm thinking of, for example, I'm getting a little off track, but I'm thinking of a situation where something happens in your business that someone else does that's wrong, and even if you should have known, you'll be held accountable for it. Obviously, I was a corporate quality manager for a long time, so all these things are rolling around in my head. So for example, say someone that you employ sexually harasses someone. It doesn't have to be another employee. Maybe it's somebody, a customer, maybe it's a vendor, maybe it's a client. If somebody in your organization sexually harasses someone, you need to take responsibility for that. Now, the thing is, you didn't do it, but you're ultimately responsible for it in the eyes of the authorities. And you'll take a consequence, but the person that did the perpetrating, the person that did the wrong thing, also needs to have a consequence and face the music, or they're not going to learn and they'll just do it again. I have a little experience with this particular topic, is why it came to mind, I guess. But like anything else, is facing the music a negative thing? Is it a bad thing? Why do we dread, or why do we say, oh, you have to face the music, you have to deal with these consequences of your behavior in a negative way? It's not negative to take responsibility. It's not negative to deal with the consequences. And who said consequences have to be bad? Go ahead and take the consequences and learn from your mistakes, but also enjoy and revel in the things that you do well, that you succeed at, because there's both positive consequences and negative consequences. Consequences are just a result, right? And results can be either good or bad, just like consequences can be good or bad. So I'm curious, have you had to face the music in different aspects of growing and building your business? I know I sure have. I've had to take responsibility for the mistakes that I've made. There's so many, there's millions of them. There's millions of things that we've done, decisions that we've made, challenges that we've had that we didn't necessarily pick the perfect option for the first time we tried to solve the problem, right? I don't know about you, but I remember certain problems, especially when it came to technical things. I would try 20 different things before I actually got to the thing that worked. And so I had to deal with the consequences of frustration and things taking longer than they had to, or dealing with customers that weren't happy because something was broken or wasn't exactly right. We all have to face the music and be responsible especially as we're building our business. The fastest way to lose trust and lose the faith of your customers is to not take responsibility for things that you should take responsibility for, things that you can control. Nothing worse than seeing a CEO or somebody high up in an organization tell employees or customers, heaven forbid, that something isn't their fault and blaming it on the economy or blaming it on something else. And maybe that's part of where this comes from, is our belief that we don't have to face the music and we can always blame something and be a victim, is from people of influence, people high up, assessing blame. And politics, oh my God, talk about a bad example of assessing blame, but then it rolls all downhill, just like it does in our businesses and our organizations. If we don't take responsibility and face the music for our bad and good decisions, neither will anyone else that's associated with our organization. And that can actually be the death of your business. It can be the death of your career. It can be the death of political campaigns or politicians or influencers or stars. If think of all the scandals that we've had in politics and with influencers, actors, actresses, famous athletes, that they didn't take responsibility for their actions. Those that are in treatment, those that have done something wrong to harm other people and they try to not be responsible for it. O.J. Simpson comes to mind. I mean, there's so many examples of people not facing the music when they or going on trial because they didn't face the music, and then they are facing the music and dealing with the consequences. Okay, enough rambling. Facing the music is good for you. It helps you grow and become the business leader that you want to be. It sets the example for the people that you work with, and it builds trust and understanding with the people that you serve, your customers and your vendors and all of the people that you interact with. That's it. Have an amazing day. If you have a great story about facing the music, I would love to hear that. Share it in the comments below so other people can learn from it as well. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. Where did it come from? What does it mean? What might or could it mean for you as you're growing and building your business? Have an awesome day. Catch you tomorrow.